if you build the right network of people, if you build the right influence with people inside that network, you will attract an infinite number of referrals to you. And that's one of the reasons why I love this book called Raving Referrals. Hello, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Expand the Business. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 must-read books on the power and the business of networking that you'll absolutely love. So hello again, my name is Eberhart, and I am super thrilled and excited to be with you today, where each and every show we like to do this thing where we help people, expand the business. And so today we're going to talk about the power of networking and the power of networking as it's talked about in various books. And so if you have been around the block at all and you know anything about what I stand for or what I bring to the table, it's really how building the asset of your network is probably the most valuable asset you and I are going to ever build. And so today, what I thought I would do was take out 5 books off my bookshelf that I reference about networking, that I use when I'm trying to build a network or help clients sell more or build their network in and of itself. So I thought I would just kind of dive in. I pulled out 5 of my favorite books. I'm going to take a little bit of time and I'm going to go through, I'm going to talk about why I like each of these books. I'm going to actually read you a couple of passages from each of these books, and kind of there's one that's not necessarily on networking, but I think if you stay till the end and you'll see how I use it in conjunction, it really is a book that will help you really grow and build a valuable, influential network. Okay, so let's jump right in. Let's get started. I am really excited. And it's very rare when I do one of these episodes and I talk about different books I like, that I'll actually use 2 books from the same author. But today we're going to do that. We're going to talk about two different books by the same author. And so we're going to start out with, it's kind of one of my favorite books. And when I open it up and I show you, you might see lots of like drawings in it and Sharpies and different colored highlighters. Because one of the things I learned very early on when I'm reading a book is, I don't know about you, but I am not a book reader that reads from front to back. I basically skim, or I'll go from chapter to chapter, or I'll bounce back and forth. I'm not a linear reader. So for me, it became really evident that in order for me to get the most out of a book, I needed to mark up the book. And so somebody, I don't even know where it was. I think it was a business coach I had years ago who gave me permission to write inside of a book and highlight and make notes inside. So that's what I do. So number 1 book, and these are in no particular order, honestly. But number 1 book is Little Black Book of Connections by Jeffrey Gitomer. And the reason I love this book is, number 1, it's just literally, he has no fluff in here. This is really a great book to really get down to the business of building connections. So we're going to talk a lot about networking and going out and growing a group or growing a community, but really it's about how are we connecting with those folks. So I have a couple of different things in this book that I love. And in fact, if you have ever been to one of my events where we talk about networking, there are certain passages that I so love that I have put my own complete spin on. But one of them inside this book is on page 158. And I thought I would just read a couple of the things to you because I think it's so valuable. So this is where he talks about the secret of turning contacts into relationships. Okay. And so he has a whole list here of different things. The other thing I love about this book, by the way, just as a side note, is if you can't see this, it's a hardback book or a hardcover book, but it has like a built-in bookmarker. And I just love that because it allows me to highlight whatever page I'm trying to find. So anyways, the secret of turning contacts into relationships. Just listen to the gold of this, okay? So here are some fundamentals of doing all you can to ensure that a contact blossoms into a relationship. Figure out who they are and what they want. Determine your compatibility with them. Find out how you can help them get what they want. Begin dialogue on a regular basis that has information they can use. Now, that's a really key ingredient for our next book. So begin a dialogue on a regular basis that has information that they can use, right? So try to learn more about them as time progresses. realize and be aware that people reveal their true selves over time. You guys have all heard the phrase, if somebody shows you who they are, believe them, okay? Pay close attention to signs and then follow your gut, follow your instinct, okay? And do what you say you'll do, essentially keep your commitments, right? And make sure they know your needs and your desires. Now, the other thing, I mean, I could just go on. I could probably do an entire episode just based on this book. But what I also love is he references networking in this book. And so in this, this is chapter 2, and it starts on page 46. But I thought I would read a tiny bit of this because I think this is a really powerful one as well. And that is, the truth is if you don't know what you want, you'll probably never get it. Okay. And so these are questions to ask yourself about networking and building connections. Okay. And that is this: what do I want from networking? Right? Like, what do you even want? What am I trying to get out of investing my time in networking and making these connections? Critically important, who am I actually trying to connect with? Do I need to dedicate more time to it? And this is one I talk a lot about, is about time management. How many people do I want to meet per week? Ooh, very interesting. How many people do I want to meet per week? What have been my best results so far? Now, this is really important. I think a lot of times people don't actually look at the results. They kind of just think it, and they don't base it on data. They don't base it on results. They just kind of go through and go, oh, well, I think it, but let's get on to some data. And finally, who am I connected with and what has it meant to me? Okay. So these are just a couple of passages out of this book. I cannot recommend this book enough. It's absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay. So that's book 1. Now, book number 2, you know what? I'm going to change up the order. I'm going to do it here. This is another book. This is a book by Barnum. Okay. Brandon Barnum is the CEO and the co-founder of HOA.com. He is a fantastic guy. If you don't know Brandon, you've got to get to know him. He's absolutely awesome. But he just came out with a book called Raving Referrals, and it's really about how to attract referrals. So I sort of have this philosophy that if you build the right network of people, if you build the right influence with people inside that network, you will attract an infinite number of referrals to you. And that's one of the reasons why I love this book called Raving Referrals. And I'm not just saying that because on page, I don't know, the back of this book, Brandon does a great thing where he highlights a bunch of people that he knows. And it's great because a lot of them are friends of mine. So I'm super excited about that. But on page 221, there I am. So I'm not just giving this book a plug because I'm in it, but truly because Brandon understands the power of building connections, the power of building a network. And this book is absolutely fantastic. So I highlighted 2 sections in here, and one of them is so powerful that I have adopted this years ago. And Brandon actually talks about it in this book. He actually talks about it starting on page 68. And it's really talking about one of the most powerful ways that you can stay connected to this network of yours is to send people video text messages or GIFs or GIFs, however you pronounce it. But he really talks about the power of sending personal one-on-one text messages. And I do this all the time. In fact, in our Platinum Inner Circle, which is the mastermind program that I run, one of the things that we do quite often as a group is we will send out as many video text messages as we can to people inside our network just to connect with them, finding out what they're doing, what they're up to, so on and so forth. And one of the things that does, it helps build and strengthen the network. Okay. And then the other thing that Brandon talks about in this book, and this is huge. And I'm not sure why more people don't do this, but client appreciation events. So essentially what this is talking about is how you can take your top level clients, your best people in your network, and really throw a party for them, throw an event for them. One of my best friends is a real estate broker / investor up in Washington State, Brandon Vuklich, shout out. And one of the things that he does is he takes his top clients and he takes them down to a craft beer house, and they have beer and play trivia together. And it's really sort of a client appreciation event. And what I love about Brandon's book here is that inside he gives many, many different ways that you too could do this. You could take them to art showing, a bowling party, a casino night, cigar night, a concert, a golf tournament, many, many others. There are so many golden nuggets in this book. It's kind of shocking that it's all in one book. So Raving, Referrals from Brandon Barnum. It's a great, great, great book. Okay, so next up, number 3 on our list. So here's the thing. You might say, well, Case, I'm building these networks and you're talking about these books. What am I supposed to do? One of the things I love doing with people in my network is figuring out new and unique ways to give them information that'll be useful for them. And one of the ways I do that is by kind of figuring out different ways that they might get more customers. Since most of my network and most of my business is built around and with business people, I find that one of the easiest things to do for people is to help them get more customers. If I help people get more customers, or if you do the thing that your customers or people in your network want to do over and over and over again, you'll ultimately attract a flood of business to you. Okay. So this is a book. It's actually quite old. I don't even know how old it is. I've had it for years. In fact, I think this is my 3rd or 4th copy because I break them. The spines break on them or whatever. So this is called 151 Ways to Get New Customers. Okay. And it's by Jerry Wilson. And the reason I love this book is that they are all these very easy, simple ways to help people get new customers. Okay. And so it is a great tool. One of the things I love doing is matching one of these ways. And what I'll do is I'll find a way that I think they could get more customers. And then I'll create that as in a tiny little, it's not really a script, just a bullet point. And then I'll record a bunch of video text messages going back to Brandon's book and send those out to people in my network to build that connectivity. So I'm always looking for different ways to get customers for my clients and or my potential clients and or people inside my network. What you want to be able to do is find some ways to get your customers what they want or your prospects what they want. This is a great book. 151 Ways to Get New Customers. You could simply take one of those and then send that out as a message or as an email or even as a Facebook message to somebody. Just say, hey, I thought of this idea that might help you get more customers. So that's one of the reasons why I love this book. And several of the ways inside this book deal with networking and bringing people together, connecting people in your network together. So grab a copy. It's absolutely awesome. Okay. Next up, this is one of those books I find, for me personally, was so influential when I learned and started down the pathway and the skill set of building a network that I literally created a DVD and a CD product around this years and years ago. And in fact, I used to run around on stages all over the world and we would sell this CD for $1,000. Like this was back in the CD days, and you go and you stand on stage and you sell it. And $1,000 was a lot of money at the time for a 45-minute disc, but that CD, that MP3, that video, whatever, really unlocked referral generation for many, 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 many businesses. And so it was literally based on this book. And so Bill Cates wrote this book called Get More Referrals Now. And the reason this fits into the networking space is in order for you to get more referrals or receive more referrals, we have to build a foundation for which to farm those or attract those referrals from. And he does an absolute amazing job inside this book. And so I pulled out 2 things that I thought were most important in here. Chapter 13, one of my favorite chapters. And the reason it's my favorite chapter is because it really talks about building the perfect referral profile. And the reason this is important is that if you think about generating referrals, what can we say about people? We can say that birds of a feather flock together, right? So what I used to do back in the olden days, if you will, is I used to go and I used to just try to generate referrals from anybody that would listen to me, right? Or anybody that was interested in what I did. I would figure out a way to give them the right script or the right ideas in order to refer me. But at the end of the day, what I really recognized was those referrals weren't the greatest referrals. for me personally, I'm going to suggest maybe for you as well, that your best referrals are going to come from people that get the most out of your product, good, or service, because they can speak to not only who you are, but the results that your product, good, or service has generated for them, right? So it's a whole heck of a lot easier and more meaningful if I say, hey, I used this realtor to buy my house. You should use this realtor to buy your house, and here's why. Versus, hey, I know a guy. Okay. So what he really talks about in here is setting up this. And one of them that was a huge shift for me was recognizing that there is a profile of a person who makes a good referral partner for me. Okay. And I would say if more people would spend time on that, they would probably be a little bit better off. Okay. And then here's the other one. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Chapter 19 is kind of a game changer for a lot of folks, and that's because it talks about having a strategy for business events. We're coming out of crazy times, and we're all getting back to either Zooms or in-person meetings, and most people don't have a structured plan. I sometimes refer to it internally with our clients of being on purpose and with intention. Most people don't. They don't have a long-term strategy. They view a networking event like a game of checkers, where people that really get and understand this and cultivate and build a really valuable, influential network are taking a long-term strategy. They are primarily treating it like the game of chess. And so chapter 19, he talks all about this. And first thing up, have a long-term strategy. And he goes through and he talks about very clearly in easy to read language on how to be able to do that. And then the other thing that I love is he's come up with, now listen, there's a lot of authors that come up with the 10 commandments of networking. Well, on page 144, he lays out his 10 commandments of networking as well. And these are all really good, but at the end of the day, look, this book is, you got to grab a copy, because even if you don't read it from back to forward, throw it in your car, and before you get out of your car to go to a networking event, thumb through, look at 4 or 5 pages, and boom, it's a game changer. I promise you. Okay, final one. This is our second book by the same author, and this is so powerful. I've talked to so many friends of mine. We talk about this book. It's so funny. It is Jeffrey Gitomer. This one is the Little Red Book of Selling. Okay. And the Little Red Book of Selling, when I first bought it, I thought it was basically how to sell more widgets or more services. And at the end of the day, it's really how to build relationships. And those relationships are what drives your network. But here's the cool thing. If you build and understand the skill of building a true network, then you can be dropped off anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, and build a network kind of from scratch. You could change careers. You could change jobs. You could change careers. You could change, if you're in network marketing, the organization that you promote. It doesn't really matter once you understand the skill, right? And so what I love about Jeffrey is the way he lays these books out. Again, you've got my notes all over this. But here's the difference between failure and success in salespeople. He's got some great nuggets in there. I'll just read just a couple of them because I think these are so cool and so powerful in terms of how they're done. But let's see, secrets of successful people, and you'll notice that these could pretty much just be for business folks as well. So believe you can, create the right environment, have the right associations. So many times I think people are hanging out with the wrong people. That's a whole topic for a different story. Expose yourself to what's new, plan for the day, become valuable, have the answers your prospects and customers need, recognize opportunity, take advantage of opportunity, take responsibility. I love that one. Take action, make mistakes, be willing to risk, keep your eyes on the prize, invest and don't spend, develop and maintain a positive attitude. And this is my favorite one, 18 and a half, ignore idiots. So he's got a great sense of humor. It's really a fun, easy read. You'll be able to bang this out in probably a half hour to an hour. Again, the reason I like these 5 books is because they make it really easy and fun to do something that most people don't find all that fun, which is building a network and going out and networking. So you can read those books from front to back, no problem. I say I'm a magazine reader. Like I like short snippets. So I take a highlighter, boom, 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 boom. And then I can flip through when the highlight jumps out at me. That's what I pick up. So I thought I would just jump on here and share 5 must-read books on power networking or networking that I know you'll love. Those are my 5. I appreciate you taking some time to hang out with me. If you get some out of this, share it, like it, comment it on it. I love taking feedback. If there's anything I can help to you to grow your business, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I wouldn't be complete without inviting you to a free gift. So I created this PDF. It's a real quick PDF. It's a real 3-minute read. It's called 120 Power Networking Tips. You can get it at powernetworkingtips.com. And what I recommend to people is go print this out, throw it in your car, stick it next to your computer. And before you get on a networking Zoom or before you go to an event, simply take it out, open it up to some page, read for 30, 45 seconds, maybe a minute. Just changes your mindset, get your wheels turning so that you're going to be prepared when you walk in to build that network and that influential ring around you. So again, I thank you so much. My name is again Casey Eberhart, and I just appreciate you. So have an amazing day. Now go give somebody else an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.